Lauren, tell me exactly how to automate my business. Step 1, identify business bottlenecks. What does that mean?
So basically what I did is I took all of our systems and processes and I put them into ChatGPT. And
you just lost half the audience. When you say you put them in, people say like, oh, I just put that into AI. How do you put something in to AI?
For sure. So today you can actually, if you have standard operating procedures, SOPs, you could upload those files directly into ChatGPT. For me at the time, it was me and a microphone talking to ChatGPT exactly what we do step by step.
And what was the prompt? And for those of you that are new to AI, the prompt is the directions that you're giving the large language model, which is all ChatGPT is. So is Gronk. So is Perplexity. They're just large language models. What's the prompt that you gave it before you started inputting all your info?
And that's funny that you ask, because I didn't even know how to prompt when I started this.
Wow.
I literally just said, I'm in trouble. I'm about to lose half my team. I need to figure out how to keep up next year.
By the way, that's a prompt. And unknowingly, what you did is you, number 1, named a persona, which is I'm a real estate agent. Number 2, I own a business. Number 3, I'm about to lose it. So you've told them who you are. You've told AI what's the problem and what's at stake. Now you start inputting all your info and then ask for help. That's it, right?
Absolutely. All you have to do is tell it what you want it to do, what you want it to be, exactly step by step what it is you're looking for, and allow it to continuously ask you questions. That's the unlock. After every single time you tell it your role, your tasks, your step by step, because now I do know how to prompt. The very big unlock is at the end of every single prompt you give it, allow it to ask you clarifying questions. And I have it ask me one by one, because if it asks me question 1 and I respond, it's then analyzing that answer before it asks me question 2. Whereas if I just said, ask me 3 to 5 questions, it would ask me questions and not analyze anything I'm saying.
So after you put in, are you telling it to ask you questions?
Correct.
What are you saying?
Just something along the lines of, if you have any questions, ask me clarifying questions about this. Or there's even sometimes where I'll say, if you're not with 75% certainty, ask me more clarifying questions. That way it's not going to anticipate or predict what it is that I'm looking for. It allows me to tell it, if it doesn't have all the information, what it is that I'm missing.
That's genius. Okay, so after you put in all of your standard operating procedures, what did it say?
Basically, it found holes that I didn't even realize we had. It allowed me to look at the bottlenecks. So that's step 1 in my framework is, identify your bottlenecks. The bottlenecks can be anything from your, what we used to do was a lead comes through, we'd screenshot it and send it off to our agent, right? A lot of things can happen. I could be busy at that time. They could be busy at that time. It may never make it into the CRM. And it's all speed to lead, right? So if we're not responding in a matter of a minute or 2, they're likely just moving on. So it allowed me to kind of see how we could streamline a lot of the systems and operations that we had in place.
Did you think going into it, we got awesome systems? Look, we're serving 650 families a year. We got great systems.
Yeah.
Were you surprised at what you got back?
I was surprised because there's a lot of information that I was just like, wow, I never thought of that. Or, oh, yeah, that does make sense, but you're in it all day long. You're not you're just surviving, right? You're just churning and churning.
Can you think of an example? Can you think of something that it said to you and you were like, oh my gosh?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, it was a lot of, like I said, we would screenshot things and send it off to the client. And it's like, well, why don't you just have a system that creates that contact, assigns that agent? And so that's what we have today is the system. Literally now a lead comes through and it does automatically create the contact in our system and then tag the agent and notify the agent, as vice versa. I was the bottleneck.
That must be step 2, plug in AI for heavy lifting.
Correct.
So AI identified these gaps. How did you then take the jump to having it help you fill them?
Yeah, so a lot of it too, and keep in mind, like, I'm completely transparent. I was the bottleneck in majority of it. That's hard for a rainmaker to say.
I can just see my AI. Jason, you're the problem.
You're the problem. But no, it was a lot of, understanding where the heavy lifting could be done as far as the lead generation, leads coming to us instead of us door knocking, prospecting, and spinning our wheels over and over when we were barely surviving, keeping up with the clients that we had, right? So it was really it was almost like having your own coach of, hey, you're a real estate agent. Here's how you could be better. And that's when we really started to dive into who is our ideal client? What is their problem? What's keeping them up at night? And positioning ourselves as the solution to that problem, not just another available agent to them when they're ready to purchase.
Yeah, but it sounds way too esoteric for me. You're at 30,000 feet. Come down to 3 feet. How do I actually use it to generate leads?
So with AI itself, the first step you're going to want to do is figure out who your ideal client is if you don't already. And the easiest way to do this is if you're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. I had it analyze my own profile to ensure that I was speaking to who I wanted to be speaking to. Because there's a big difference between me producing content that I think my client wants to hear versus me using AI to figure out what those pain points are and actually speaking to one person directly. I want the person on the other side of that scroll to be like, wow, she's talking to me. This message is for me, as opposed to everyone else, right? Because if we're talking to everybody, we're not talking to anybody.
Love that. Love that. Then you have lead follow-up and nurturing. How do you use AI to help you do that?
Yeah. So what we have now is you have to be TCPA compliant and ATP compliant. But there's a very quick 2-day process that you go through. And what happens now is that when a lead comes in, ChatGPT will actually step in and it's trained as to being our ISA or our open house expert or our AI assistant. Again, you're telling it the role you want it to play. But if Jason comes through as a Facebook lead or an open house lead, ChatGPT will start that conversation with you automatically.
How? By the way, friends, if you're going to do that, make sure you follow every single rule. Everybody always has to know if they're talking to an AI and they have to explicitly agree to do it. So assuming that that's all done, check with your local attorneys. How do you actually, I know this sounds like a dumb question, but this is what everyone's thinking. I downloaded this ChatGPT app. I got it on my phone. How do I actually get it to talk to other people on my behalf? And what the hell is a bot?
Sure. So I personally built our CRM on the Go High Level platform. So I took Go High Level and I plugged in a lot of different AI sources that we needed, but there's a lot of different options out there. You can create chatbots with, there's Closebot. There's a lot of different platforms. Just Google, AI powered chatbots. A chatbot basically is a extension of your team that is trained on your brand, your voice, your frequently asked questions, and it just becomes an extension of your team answering the consumer in a much faster pace than a human being could. So if I'm in a closing or at my kid's soccer game and a lead comes through, AI will take that for me. So the way we plug it in is there's a API key for OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, that I integrate into the CRM. And that allows the two platforms to work together. And then the trained AI then picks up the conversation.
And this then carries through to the next, which is Google reviews. How do you use it there?
Sure. So part of our automation now is that we will ask for the Google review. And we'll use it in a way of saying things like Columbus, Ohio, first-time buyer. So the keywords that we want them to use are written in the ask, right? So when Jason were to leave me a review, psychologically, you just saw Columbus, Ohio, first-time buyer. You're going to use words like that. And then the system is trained that as soon as a new review comes through, it's going to read it and analyze it and respond on our behalf. So that chatbot is trained that, hey, a new Google review is coming through. I want you to use our SEO keywords. I want you to respond to them. And then what happens is it drives up our rankings on Google. Google gets more confidence in us because we're engaging with our consumer. We're responding with the same keywords back and forth. And we're both using the same keywords, which allows our SEO to be higher than it would be without.
Have you turned into a tech nerd? Is that what's happening?
I might be.